Most people are familiar with wildlife photography, whether you've seen it on TV in a documentary or you bought a cool calendar of all the wolves of Alaska. People are fond of getting a closer glimpse at the wildlife around us. Although most people are familiar with wildlife photography, few realize the effort that goes into capturing these photos and the importance of them. It's not wildlife photography without wildlife. The most important aspect of wildlife photography is being able to find the target animal that you want to capture photos of. Having the right equipment to help find the animals is crucial to the process as a whole. I typically use my binoculars to find the animal a long ways off and then try to sneak closer to capture the photographs. While I'm an amateur, I'm working on building my photography tools to get me to the next level. One of the greatest inventions that I personally love that helps me with wildlife photography is a phone scope. A phone scope might sound like an amazing lens you put on your phone, but it's a little more simple than that. When I'm out in the field, I typically have either binoculars or a spotting scope with me so that I can find the animals I'm looking for. A phone scope is a case that basically adapts my phone's camera to fit perfectly in the eyepiece of my binoculars or my spotting scope. By having that perfect adaptation, I can now take photos of the animals I'm seeing through this high magnification that otherwise I wouldn't be able to do with just my phone. This is really a great tool for me because I'm already packing a lot of gear with me. I've got all the regular gear for hiking. I've got first aid equipment, my bulky binoculars, spotting scopes, and occasionally I've got a weapon or two because I might be hunting. If you add in a bulky camera and a giant lens to that load, that would just be too much to handle. By being able to take just my tiny portable camera that all of us carry around in our pockets and turn it into a more powerful photography tool, I can save myself the hassle, expense, and worry of lugging around a giant camera. Maybe one day I'll be able to invest in a nicer camera, but for now, being able to make this adaptation is a really valuable tool to improve my wildlife photography skills. Another photography tool that I use regularly is a game camera. Game cameras are cameras that you can leave out in the field overnight for days at a time that have a motion sensor to take photos. This allows us to get a great glimpse into the natural actions of an animal without a human presence having to be there. Some of the animals I've been lucky enough to capture on my game cameras are animals that I never would have dreamed to be living in the areas where those cameras were set, and I likely never would have seen had I been waiting for them to show up in person. In one location, I set a camera for a period of about 2 weeks. We got photos of 3 different species of skunks, at least 2 different individual mountain lions, and tons of other animals that I otherwise never would have encountered on my own. But why is wildlife photography important? For me personally, it just allows me to show my family or my friends some of the amazing sights that I get to see by being in such remote locations. Even more important than that, though, are the scientific breakthroughs that have been caused by wildlife photography. For example, just here in Arizona, the Arizona Game and Fish Department were able to use photographs to document rare mammals coming into the state from Mexico. Animals like jaguars and ocelots are rarely found in Arizona, but now due to advances in trail cameras, Game and Fish have been able to record almost 10 of these animals coming into the state. The great thing about finding ocelots and jaguars is that each one has a unique pattern, so just by using these photos, we're able to look at distinct individuals coming into the state. This is a great resource for Arizona Game and Fish because they're the ones that manage wildlife populations. By having that information, they can now manage appropriately to accommodate these rare animals coming into our state. What I find most important about wildlife photography is that it's bringing wildlife from all around the world to people who otherwise would never get a chance to see these amazing creatures. Looking back through history, if we lived here in Arizona 500 years ago, we would have no idea what a whale was or what it looked like. We'd have no clue that zebras exist, and we certainly would have no idea that there are polar bears in the world, or walruses, or penguins. But today, because we live in a time where photography is so easily accessible, everyone has a chance to experience these magnificent animals from all across the globe. People know about endangered species, we understand how animals interact, and their importance to nature. Without wildlife photography, I don't think that would be such a common knowledge. I hope one day that my own wildlife photographs can contribute to such an important mission.